The dogwoods are in bloom, and so is the racing. Here in historic Hot Springs, people come for the water, and the horses enjoy it too. So dry off, smell the flowers, and catch the start of the Racing Festival of the South. It begins today with the $750,000 Oaklawn Handicap. Thrifty Car Rental, racing across America. Presented by Visa. This afternoon here at Oaklawn, we'll see if the California Invader isn't in good. Can make it 3 record-breaking performances in a row. Then we'll take you halfway around the world to Dubai for the long-awaited, and I do mean long-awaited, $4 million Dubai World Cup. And we'll stay on the Kentucky Derby Trail with the historic Flamingo Stakes from Hialeah. Our host site this afternoon, beautiful and historic Oaklawn Park, the world's only racetrack located in a national park. Friday, heavy rains throughout the day and night, but it's turned into a beautiful spring afternoon here. Temperature 70 degrees. Forecast mostly sunny, a light breeze blowing. It was a sloppy track, is now a fast racetrack. Hello again, everyone. I'm Chris Lincoln from the sands of Dubai to the dogwoods of Arkansas. Great to be part of the 51st running of the Oaklawn Handicap and the start of their Racing Festival of the South. This race with a great history goes back to such stars here as Wild Again, along with Best Pal. Also winning this race, of course, the legendary Cigar. Let's take a look at the 1997 conditions of racing. $750,000 in this Grade 1 event. The prize for the winner, $450,000. Thoroughbreds 4 and up at 1 mile and an eighth. Well, joining me now is Kate Brader. Kate, in this race has always been kind of a focal point. First meeting between the East and the West, and always a race that creates quite a bit of interest nationally.
And with the retirement of Cigar last year, and of course the subsequent losses of horses like Skipaway and Alphabet Soup that had beaten Cigar, the division's been blown wide open. As a result, trainers are shipping all across the world, literally, to try to gain dominance in the division. This field is a perfect example. It
really is, because when you think 8 in this field, they've run at 5 different racetracks.
And in this field, we have a good lineup, including an entry for John Franks originally, but with a scratch of Halo America, she'll point instead for the Apple Blossom, and that will be the final start of her career. World record holder Atticus gets a new rider this afternoon in Shane Sellers, and then there's last year's Flamingo Stakes winner El Amante, with Billy Mott and Jerry Bailey seeking their 3rd straight Oaklawn handicaps. Dwayne Lucas has a pair trying to rebound from terrible losses, Victory Speech and Editor's Note. Then there's Is It In Good, the highweight in the field with his regular rider David Flores, just off the plane from Dubai, the second choice at 5-2 in the morning line. No Spend, No Glow's a local horse coming off 2 strong Oaklawn Stakes wins, and on the outside, the morning line favorite, Tejano Run, with 4-time Oaklawn Handicap winner Pat Day aboard.
You know, Kate, looking at just recent past performances, you'd have to say this is a handicapper's nightmare.
Well, there's certainly some interesting angles. You have 2 world record holders in Atticus and Is It In Good, but they set their records on the grass. Right. And of course, you have a hometown horse, you have speed, you have horses coming off of devastating losses like Victory Speech and Editor's Note, and horses coming off their career best, trying to make it 2 in a row. One thing about it, though, whatever the angle, we've got the horse.
We could also say for our announcing team, we've got a first-time starter for you. He chased basketballs all winter long for ESPN. Great to have him now on the Thoroughbred Fast Track with us. Welcome, Larry Conley.
Thank you, Chris. It's nice to join you. You know, as I'm making this transition from basketball over to horse racing, and as I was doing my research for our race today, I was drawn to a comparison between the 2 coaches in the NCAA tournament championship game and 2 of the horses we have in the field today. Rick Pitino, well, he's won games at home and away, and he's found a way to do it no matter what. But we've got a horse in the field today, Is It In Good, who has won 6 of his last 7 races, and he's won them all at different tracks. The comparison, on the other hand, between Lute Olson and Tejano Run. Well, Lute Olson, I've always felt like, has just been under the surface a little bit and maybe not gotten the respect from his peers that he should have gotten, much like Tejano Run. Well, today, Tejano Run has an opportunity to pick up his first Grades 1 stakes victory, and also perhaps to move him to the top of his handicap championship. Let's go back now to Chris.
We have a show chock full of racing. We'll take you not just racing across America, but racing around the world. A recap of the $4 million Dubai World Cup is coming up next. Thrifty Car Rental, racing across America, is brought to you by Thrifty Car Rental. Best of all, it's thrifty. By Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. Budweiser, Beechwood Age for a crisp, clean, classic taste. by the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority. Get away from the ordinary and discover the extraordinary Las Vegas. Call your travel agent today. And by Nicoderm CQ Stop Smoking Patch. You bring a commitment, CQ brings the rest. Thrifty Car Rental racing across America. Presented by Visa. Welcomes you back to Oaklawn Park, and for me it's just great to be back in the USA after a 15-hour flight through 10 time zones from Dubai. We were over there, of course, for the Maktoum's Desert Party, known as the $4 million Dubai World Cup, with a prize, the richest in all racing, of $2.4 million. And two of our American riders have joined me now, who had a big part of that race and brought a lot of that money back home to the States. Jerry Bailey, who won it for the second year in a row on Singspiel. David Flores, who ran second on the favorite Siphon. For you, Jerry, it was 2 trips back and forth.
Yeah, I'm a little bit jet lagged, but I feel pretty good, actually.
David, how are you holding up?
Well, it was a good trip, and I feel pretty good, too.
All right, let's put him in the gate and run the Dubai World Cup. 12 runners from all over the world representing 5 continents. Combined, they'd won 90 races, some $21 million. We'll watch Singspiel, Jerry and Sheikh Mohammed's colors, the burgundy, inside and 2. David Flores on Siphon, and Sanford with Corey Nakatani on the outside. Dave, for you, kind of a bad start.
Yeah, my horse, he kind of fell the first jump out of the gate, but he's a good horse, so he took the lead on the first 8 mile, and he was kind of running the bridle all the way around, and it was a pretty good trip. It just Singspiel looked like it was a little better horse right there.
Jerry, let's set yourself here now again in Sheikh Mohammed's burgundy colors, the burgundy cap with the white star with Singspiel.
Wasn't too difficult for me. I broke from the inside, and therefore I was naturally going to save some ground without having to move. And I knew Siphon was probably the horse to beat, so as long as I kept him within my sights, I thought I was in pretty good shape.
David, a half-mile run out of the starting gate to this, the first turn. Did you think you'd have a bigger lead at this point?
Yeah, my horse, he was doing so easy, but I don't want to pull too much on him, and even, I don't want to go too fast. So at the same time, I was kind of having a good trip, and all the horses, they were all together, and it was kind of pressure all the way around, and down the stretch, I was just hoping that, that try was just, my horse, he was having a little hard time all the way in the track because he was pretty loose.
Jerry, at this point, you're concerned. Singspiel, of course, his first time on the dirt. What about keeping some of that kickback away from him, and then also getting a chance to find a position? Did you see there a quick fall there? That was by the Japanese mare Hakuto Vega, and also Bishu Dam went over him.
Well, neither David nor I were even aware of what happened back there. We were, of course, in front, but my horse was taking the spray in his face very well, and he was in the bridle. He was very willing, but I also knew who I had in front of me, and Siphon, I've run at him on more than one occasion and not been able to get by him, so I knew it wasn't going to be easy.
Okay, guys, here's the duel. 3 furlongs to home, the long stretch there, and Jerry finally looking for a spot inside.
Yeah, when Formal Gold died off, I just kind of slipped in and took his spot, and my horse was equal to the task. Siphon was tough, but Singspiel was a little bit better, I think, that night.
Jerry Bailey 1 on Singspiel, David Flores 2 on Siphon. Also for the USA, Corey Nakatani 3rd with Sandpit. Formal Gold finished 5th. Now, of course, if you bet the race here in America, here's the return for you. Singspiel with a nice double-figure price there. And about today, gentlemen, let's look at this race and talk about your mount, Jerry, and a trip in for you.
Well, he's probably not run with quite these good of horses yet, at least this year. But he's run 2 good races, and Billy Mott's always dangerous, so I'm hopeful.
Alamante, of course, with Jerry Bailey. And now let's talk about yours. Is it in good? And he's giving you a world record, David.
Yeah, this horse has been running pretty well, and he broke the record in Santa Anita, and then last time in Louisiana, and fairgrounds. And I hope we have a good trip today, and let's get lucky.
Well, Is It In Good has been a story all year long. We're going to find out much more about this California Speedster. Kate and Bader will have that when we return here to Oaklawn with more of our coverage of the Oaklawn Handicap. Is It In Good on the racetrack here, the World Record Center. We'll find out, is he good enough today? Great history in the city of Hot Springs. This used to be quite a jumping place back in the 30s. You're looking at the Arlington Hotel's Al Capone Suite. Scarface himself took residence up here when he come down to play the horses, enjoy the mineral baths of Hot Springs in the 30s. Major League Soccer coming your way tonight on ESPN. New York, New Jersey goes to Washington, D.C. to take on the defending MLS champions. Live soccer action, 7:30 Eastern here on ESPN. Taking a look at some of our horses that have arrived in the infield here now have been saddled. The jockeys have arrived as well, and Caton Bader is with us as we have a question to pose to Caton about is it in good? Is he really this good?
Well, Chris, his name poses a rhetorical question, but there's no question about the fact that Is It In Good enters the Oaklawn Handicap as the starting high weight and one of the horses to beat. But packing all that weight and facing some familiar competition, the question remains, is he good enough? Is It In Good was certainly good enough to win 6 of his last 7 races, each over a different track, with 2 wins in track record time. The most recent, this win at the fairgrounds last month, where he set a new mark for 1 1/8 miles. The 6-year-old is based in California with a good trainer, Bob Baffert, who remains at Santa Anita to saddle Silver Charm in the Santa Anita Derby. But Baffert's assistant, Owen Hardy, is here at Oaklawn, and he knows how good his Oaklawn handicap charge really is.
Oh, he's just real professional, you know. You could ship him anywhere, anytime, day or night. He doesn't seem to care, and he just gets up the next day and does his job.
Never was that more apparent than last February at Santa Anita, where Is It In Good ran a mile on the grass in 1:32 flat. Good enough to better Dr. Fager's 29-year-old world record.
We were working him on the turf, trying to get him ready for the Santa Anita Handicap. And he had a couple of really sensational works, so that the Bart race came up, was a mile on the turf, and we said, well, this will be a good prep race, we'll try him there. And, you know, we never figured he was going to get out there and set a world record. Of course, it didn't last very long, but it was fun while it lasted. I think we got about 3 weeks out of it.
Actually, 24 days when the California-based Atticus lowered Is It In Good's time to 1:31 4/5, also over the speedy Santa Anita turf. It wasn't the first time the Richard Mandela runner had stolen Is It In Good's thunder. Atticus also handed him his only defeat in 2 years, a sloppy romp in the Kentucky Cup Classic last September, with Is It In Good finishing 3rd. Will the curse of Atticus plague Is It In Good again today? Owen Hardy thinks strategy will be the key.
Atticus, he's a real speed horse, and if we get the rain they're expecting, I'm sure he'll be on the lead. So if we can just lay off of him, mow him down in the stretch, end up in the winner's circle.
Well, Owen Hardy did not get the rain, or at least it came too early. A fast track for Is It In Good, and in addition, added competition. Larry Connolly standing by with some of that competition.
Well, I am indeed. I'm standing here with Ken McPeak, who is the trainer of Tiano Run. And Ken, obviously the first question you've got to ask, the concern about racing 2 weeks after the Widener. Is the horse in good shape?
He's in great shape. We were a little tentative about coming. We really didn't make the decision until 3 days, or the day he flew out. And I'm confident he's going to run a great race. I think we've left a lot of horse as far as the previous races that he had. So I'm sure we'll be fine.
Were you a little surprised with that buyer rating coming out of the Widener?
Yes and no. The horse, he really loved Hialeah. The racetrack down there was a lot deeper than it normally been, and it was a course that he really took to. I think the Gulfstream tracks, it played to faster or speed horses, whereas Hialeah is more his game, and hopefully today will be too.
What about the track here today?
You know, I'm concerned as far as the pace, but it's something I can't control, and I've got probably one of the best riders in the world on him, so we'll go from there.
Well, good luck to you today. Okay. Chris?
Walking into that Widener and taking a look there at Tejano Run, he ran that giant 1:23 buyer speed figure. A lot of the handicappers said he wondered, will he bounce? Will he now throw in a bad race? We'll soon find out. The riders are up. Back with the post parade.
Ladies and gentlemen,
We just had the call to the post to officially start the 1997 Racing Festival of the South at Oaklawn. 8 races in 6 days worth over $2.3 million. Let's begin with the post parade for the Oaklawn Handicap. The one, Shaka Khan, the roan gelding from John Frank's stable, looking for his first win of the year. 0 for 5 at the meet. 5th in the Razorback. The rider, Carlos Gonzalez, known as a top speed rider. John Frank scratched the other part of his entry, Halo America. Atticus, the 2-horse, coming from California, the world record holder at a mile on the turf at Santa Anita, 1:31 4. 5-year-old is won over $750,000. A Keeneland sale horse, Shane Sellers, the jockey. The 3 is Elamati with Jerry Bailey up. Very consistent, has been first or second in 9 of his last 10 starts. His trainer, Bill Mott, his jockey, Jerry Bailey, has won the last 2 Oaklawn handicaps. The 4 is Victory Speech from the stable of Michael Tabor. This Strube Stakes winner, talented but inconsistent, beaten over 20 lengths in his last start, the Gulfstream Park Handicap, a $65,000 Keeneland purchase. John Velasquez in the irons, which Victory Speech will show up today. The 5 is another real mystery horse from Dwayne Lucas' stable. W.T. Young's editor's note. Last year's Belmont winner has not won, though, since last fall's Super Derby. Badly beaten in his last 2 starts, the rider, Joe Bravo. The 6, Is It In Good? The high weight 120 pounds from Mike Pegram's stable, trained by Bobby Baffert, set a world record earlier this year on a mile of the turf at Santa Anita. Looking for a big effort, David Flores. No Spend, No Glow, the local hope from Don Von Himmel's stable. $12,000 Keeneland bargain has earned almost $400,000, trying to become the first to sweep the big handicap races here, the Essex, the Razorback, and the Oaklawn. Bobby Lester, native of Arkansas, the jockey. Rounding out the field, Ken McPeak trained, Roy Monroe owned Tahano Run. $20,000 Keeneland purchase, has earned almost $1 million now, coming off the huge race at the Widener, and has the best in the business. Pat Day, Hall of Famer, 12-time Oaklawn riding champion, 4-time winner of this race. There is the field of 8 set to run, a mile and an eighth for $750,000. Back to the walking ring area now, and Larry Conley.
Well, thanks, Chris. And earlier on, we had an opportunity to visit with Gary Mandela. We asked him the question why he decided to come here, and here was the response.
It was something we were going to look at, but we hadn't taken it seriously until we heard that Skip Away wasn't going to run here, because he's such a good horse and such a competitive horse on the pace. You know, we felt that's not a good horse for him to run against. But when we heard he wasn't going to come here, we thought it'd be a good opportunity. And then when we checked the weather forecast and find out there's a good chance it was going to rain this weekend, that just sealed it. That and the fact we could get Shane Sellers to ride him, that made a big difference.
Chris, I got to tell you, I really like his horse.
Good looking there, and I've got someone we all really like. Not only the man who is Oaklawn Park, but to us, he's also the founder of Racing Across America, Charles J. Sella himself. Mr. Sella, you say it, and it really is true. The sun always shines at Oaklawn.
Well, I wasn't so sure, Chris, last night. The heavens were really rattling, but it turned out beautiful today. And, of course, the beginning of the Racing Festival of the South, the azaleas are in bloom, the dogwood. It's a beautiful day down here.
It is, and this Racing Festival really is the model for everyone that has followed.
We're very proud of it. Started in 1974, stakes a day for 7 days, and all the best horses and jockeys come out, and the public loves it.
You're always on the cutting edge. Next week, a big 3 bet involving your Arkansas Derby.
We're very proud of that. First time it's ever been done. It starts with the race at Aqueduct, the Wood Memorial. We'll be the center leg with the Arkansas Derby, the 61st running, and then we close with the Keeneland Bluegrass, the Toyota Bluegrass. And it gives a chance for America to see the last 3 stepping stones to the Kentucky Derby.
No one loves this game more than Charles Sella. His family's been in it for generations. It really shows here at Oaklawn. We'll be back in a moment as Mr. Sella's Racing Festival of the South gets underway with the 51st running of the Oaklawn Handicap. Thrifty Car Rental, Racing Across America, welcomes you back to the Oaklawn Handicap. Set in Hot Springs, Arkansas, the boyhood home of President Bill Clinton, really making quite a renaissance itself. Many of the old bathhouses reopening. Great time to come to the races here, and no better time than the Racing Festival of the South. Well, you see our thoroughbreds are on the track, warming up as they prepare for the big Oaklawn Handicap. Caton Bader's preparing as well, and getting you prepared at home. Caton, as we ask you to kind of give us a look inside this race, what are some of the keys to winning this Grade 1?
Well, Chris, we said earlier on that there's something for everyone in this race, but the keys to victory in the Oaklawn Handicap are kind of broken down between the haves and have-nots. For instance, who has the home court advantage? No Speed, No Glow, who's won 7 of 11 races over the Oaklawn Strip, and typically hometown horses fare well at Oaklawn. Who gets position going into the first turn? Atticus on the rail definitely has an edge over Is It In Good, breaking towards the outside, not to mention Tahano Run, who comes from the outside as well. And the lead, who doesn't have to have it? Tahano Run, No Spend, No Glow, and other late runners have an edge over Atticus, Is It In Good, and others who may end up slugging it out on the lead, especially in this race, which has gone to the closers.
You're taking a look through the starting gate. That's how the thoroughbreds will take this shot as they see the clubhouse, the big group of fans off to their right there. And, you know, we're taking a look, of course, at some of the keys here. I hope you're handicapping at home. Let's show you what the folks here are doing at Oaklawn. Here's how they've handicapped this. The odds presented by Las Vegas. Shaka Khan at 25. He scratched the other part of that entry. Halo America, as you mentioned, going on to the Apple Blossom later this week. Atticus is at 4. Elamante at 6. Victory Speech at 16. Going on with the field, editor's note 13, Is It In Good at 2, No Spend, No Glow, the local hope at 18, and there is the race favorite, Tejano Run, at 3-2. So the public here says it's Tejano Run and Is It In Good, but we know you're looking for more than that. You're looking for some value, some price. You're looking for our Budweiser long shot for the Oaklawn Handicap.
Today's Budweiser long shot is the Team Lucas-trained victory speech. This millionaire's past performances seem to follow his own speech pattern, a bad race followed by a good one. For instance, in January, Victory's speech finished a silent 6th in the San Fernando. But then 3 weeks later, he spoke volumes with a surprising victory in the Grade 1 Stroop Stakes at odds of 7-1. Last time out, many players took another bath backing the son of Deputy Minister when he was beaten 23 lengths in the Gulfstream Park Handicap. So in keeping with the pattern, we're hoping the connections of Victory speech get to make one as today's Budweiser long shot.
Victory speech, our Budweiser long shot. And he mentioned the current odds right now after he opened at 5. Look at that, 17-1. That might be quite an overlay here, because you never know what kind of race he's going to throw in. Well, they say the most recognized, the most famous voice in Arkansas. Wrong. It's not President Bill Clinton. It's Terry Walsh, and he has an opinion on today's race.
Well, a bright, sunshiny day has managed to get rid of the racetrack as a factor. The footing is terrific. But one thing we have in this year's Oaklawn Handicap is an abundance of speed. And that being the case, I think the race really sets up for a come-from-behind horse. Tejano Run is the obvious one, but on the other hand, he's had a lot of travel in a short time, a lot of racing in a short time. Instead, I think you've got a real opportunity here for a value with a horse called Editor's Note. Last time he was in this part of the country, he came for the Super Derby to Louisiana Downs, beat a field people didn't think he would then either. It's a day for value and a day for sunshine here at Oaklawn, and it may very well be also a day for Editor's Note.
What a day that would be, too, Terry, at 15-1. That's the current odds right now on Editor's Note. Take a look back at the grandstand here. Crowd expected around 40,000 here. Always a big turnout here at Oaklawn. And as they parade to the post, Kate, another one you might have your eye on.
Well, El Amante made a beautiful appearance, and remember, trainer Billy Mott and Jerry Bailey have combined for the last 2 Oaklawn handicaps, but this is no easy race. In terms of appearances, Editor's Note, Terry's pick, a little stirred up in the post parade. He's been ranked early on in his last couple of races.
Well, you said we have something for everyone in this race. It really would seem to be the case. Well, before the horses approach the starting gate, we're going to take a quick break for you here before the 51st running of the Oaklawn Handicap. The assistant starters are awaiting the thoroughbreds. So are we. We're back. They're loading up. Quick thought from Larry Conley before the race.
Chris, I'm going to stick with Atticus. I've noticed speed is really playing an important part on this track, and I think he'll be out in front. He's going to be tough to catch.
Kate, a pick?
El Amante made a beautiful appearance. Tough connections to top.
They're right. Billy Mott, Jerry Bailey won it the last 2 years. We'll go to the top of the stands now as you see our post-time favorites to call the race. The voice of Oaklawn, Terry Wallace.
Welcome to our ESPN audience. We're waiting only for the favorite, Tejano Run, now to move into the starting gate. And now he moves in, the field standing well. They're in the gate. And they're off in the 51st Oaklawn Handicap. Showing speed to the outside. Is It In Good? The gray Shaka Khan at the rail. Between them, Victory Speech is away well today. Followed to the rail by Atticus in 4th. El Amante takes over 5th. Editor's Note's got run on the mind. He's 6 by 2 over Tejano Run, and the trailer No Spin, No Glow as they enter the turn in the Oaklawn Handicap. It's the gray Shaka Khan going like a hoop on a barrel with a lead. Atticus looking for room to the inside of him. To his outside is Victory Speech. Is It In Good is 4th, about a length, 2.5 off the lead, and at the rail, El Amante is 5th. 2 lengths back to Editor's Note. No Spin, No Glow, Tejano Run. Not a large margin here on this field as they went a slow opening quarter of 23-1. Shaka Khan still leading away, and Atticus comfortable at the rail in 2nd. Victory Speech with his running shoes on is right there, 3rd by 2.5. Is It In Good is 4th. El Amante being asked to bid at the rail in 5th. Editor's Note's another couple lengths back in 6th. Tejano's Run is 1 length in front of No Spend, No Glow for a half in 47-1. They head for the final turn of the Oaklawn Handicap. There goes Atticus through at the rail to take command. Victory Speech to the outside, between them Shaka Khan. Is it in good? Trying to move up now, 4 wide on the turn. Elamani saving ground in 5th. It's a good 5 lengths back now to Tejano Run beginning his late charge. 3/4 in, 1:10-1. And here they come into the stretch of the Oaklawn Handicap with Atticus taking command to the middle of the track. Is it in good? Takes up the chase. At the rail, El Amante moving up inside of Victory's Beach. Atticus, full of run, is taking a 2.5 length lead. Is it in good? Second. Tejano Run trying a bit on the outside. It's not going to be good enough. Atticus is full of run and running hard out today. He's got a 3-length lead, and he's all alone at the wire. Another big win for Atticus. He gets there by 3. Is it in good? Running second. Tejano Run was third. The running time a mile and an eighth in 1:48 and 1/5 seconds. Back to you, Chris.
Atticus goes over the $1 million mark in career earnings, scoring his first Grade 1 victory and remains perfect in 1997, 3 for 3. The first Oaklawn Handicap win for either jockey Shane Sellers or trainer Dick Mandel. And Caden, I'm struck by the fact that Dick Mandela couldn't get it done at Dubai again. Running second was Siphon, third was Sandpit. But he comes back to the USA. His son Gary saddling today and gets the Grade 1 victory here in the Oaklawn Handicap with Atticus.
Well, Siphon didn't get away from the gate well in Dubai, and Sandpit took the overland route, but both factors worked in favor of Atticus. Taking a look at position being everything, Atticus was able to save ground under Shane Sellers, breaking from the inside, didn't get tangled up in a rapid speed battle early on, and that made all the difference through the stretch. He had more than enough horse left in reserve to just draw off through the lane, and a nice late charge from Is It In Good, who dug in gamely under David Flores, but just not quite enough through the stretch.
1:48 and 1, the running time for the 1 1/8. That's about 2 2/5 seconds slower than the track and stakes record. This was Atticus, of course, the world record holder at a mile on the turf at Santa Anita when he blazed that 1:31 and 4. But he stretched it out today on the main track. A very versatile horse, Kate.
And a versatile jockey. Remember, Shane Sellers, hooked up with Skipway early on, was committed. When those connections opted to not come to Oaklawn Park, makes a phone call, picks up the mount on the winner.
The 5-year-old son of Nureyev, and you're looking at racing's newest millionaire. Atticus goes over the $1 million mark for Len Gerard Wertheimer, the owner's trainer, Richard Mandela, and jockey Shane Sellers. Atticus going to the wire as the unofficial winner of the Oaklawn Handicap. We welcome you back to Oaklawn Park. We've just run the 51st edition of the Oaklawn Handicap to kick off the Racing Festival of the South. What an outstanding performance by Atticus. And to mind, more sports action tonight coming up on ESPN 2 at 7:30. NHL hockey action. Now, Fire on Ice features the Whalers visiting Montreal to take on the Canadiens. That's tonight on ESPN 2 at 7:30. There's Gary Mandela, fine young horseman in his own right, deputized by his father Richard, who just came back, of course, from Dubai. Let's go down now to Larry Conley with one of the jocks.
Thank you, Chris. I'm here with David Flores, who wrote Is It In Good, and obviously everyone knew that Atticus and Is It In Good was going to go out on top. Your horse was laying a little bit back today.
Yeah, I tried to send him a little bit of the first part, but I can go to the lead, so I just try to be in a good spot the first part, and then the backside, look at my horse. He didn't want to go, you know, try to keep him busy, but just going to wait a little bit, so take back, and I just, you know, on the half mile, started riding him a little hard to get him close to it. Atticus, I know, was the horse to beat. I mean, in the position that I was, and he got lucky to go inside, and I think he had a perfect trip, and my horse, he ran a good race.
David, do you think maybe Atticus might start backing up to you, particularly after he got the lead coming around the turn?
Well, yes. I thought I still have a shot on the stretch, but looked like the horse in the lead just never stopped. He loves to be in the lead.
Okay, great. Thanks, and thanks for stopping by. Chris?
The colors being worn by Shane Sellers, one of the most famous in racing, Le Presley Farm, representing one of the most prestigious racing families in all of Europe, that of the Wertheimers of the Chanel perfume fortune. They're in Switzerland today, but I'm sure they'll get the news very quickly from Richard Mandel. They're going to be awfully pleased with a world record holder at a mile on the turf, has now won a major Grade 1 stake in the handicap division. Atticus moving to the top of the handicap division here in the United States. The 5-year-old Chestnut, he's by Nureyev out of a Secretariat mare bred by the Wertheimers in Kentucky. And now goes over the $1 million mark as he scores the first Grade 1 victory of his career. There's Louis Sella, Mr. Sella's son, making the presentation to Gary Mandela for his Sunday as he takes the flowers off. Shane Sellers dismounts, and we'll have some interviews with the winners when we return to Oaklawn Park. Glad you've joined us this afternoon. Remember, we've got a lot more racing coming up for you fans. We'll be showing you the Flamingo Stakes and the Santa Anita Derby, so stay right there. Now, the sun's starting to set this afternoon here in Hot Springs, Arkansas, as we welcome you back to our post-race coverage of the Oaklawn Handicap. And a reminder to catch up on all horse racing news, whether you're a standard-bred, quarter-horse, or thoroughbred fan. Join us on the Racehorse Digest, Wednesday at 3 o'clock Eastern, right here on ESPN. Caton?
Well, Chris, some would say jockey Shane Sellers is the luckiest jockey in the world, but I think skill had a little bit to do with it as well. Shane, tell us a little about your trip, first time on this horse.
Yes, I just kind of on the last minute got on him after Skip Away was pulled out, and very fortunate for Mr. Mandela putting me on him. But it turned out that I knew he was the speed of the race, and they had the one horse that was on the outside of me, Mr. Frank's horse, that had speed also, and I asked him if it was okay if I tried to take him off of him, and I did, and got through in the fence, and he ran a powerful race.
We're going to take a look at it through the stretch. You've been able to save ground all the way.
I was fortunate enough to the horse in the lead. I sat off of him, and he got out of the backside, and I was able to get through on him, and then save my coat from that point on, and really got into him down the lane, but he was giving me his all.
Really seemed to be accelerating here in the final strides, coming off of a world's record.
I tell you, this horse ran a powerful race today. I don't know if he really liked the racetrack or not, but I seen him run at Turfway and run a powerful race, and we was excited when we got the opportunity to ride him.
Well, a powerful race from Shane Sellers aboard Atticus. Certainly a powerful horse. Chris?
We've made it official here at Oaklawn. Let's take a look now for you at the prices. Atticus, $10, $5, and $3. Is it in good? $3.80 and $2.60. Tahano Run, the race here, might have bounced a bit after that big 123 speed figure in the Widener 2 weeks ago. He gets the show spot 1:48 and 1. The running time a little over 2 seconds slower than the stakes and track record set by Snow Chief. Here's our full order of finish. Good run by the local horse. Don Von Himmel's got to be pleased. He wanted to get some part of a check. He certainly did with fourth there. Victory speech, well, I don't know. It's hard to figure out. As is editor's note, you see running last. Dwayne Lucas, I know, will be scratching his head about his classic winner. See what happened there. Well, to get the answers, though, on how Atticus pulled this off today, we'll go over to Larry Conley with the young trainer here who's done a heck of a job deputizing for his father. Gary Mandela's with him.
Thanks, Chris. I am standing here with somebody who's actually eye level with me. It's nice to interview somebody like that. Gary, obviously a big race for your guys today. You have a very versatile horse. You have to be happy with the way he ran today.
I couldn't be any happier. I mean, this is a really good horse. We've been waiting for an opportunity for him to win a big race like this. When we heard that Skip Away wasn't going to run, we thought it was a good opportunity to bring him across country here and run him, and he did even better than I could have ever imagined today.
Well, I know it's been a very versatile horse. You sometimes like to have him on the lead, and oftentimes you say you've even brought him from behind.
Sure. You know, throughout his career, we've tried different things with him. We've brought him from way off the pace. We've put him right on it on the lead. And I told Shane, you know, he could ride this horse however the situation came up. If nobody wanted the lead, he'd go right out and ride him confident that way. If there was a lot of pace and somebody else wanted the lead, he could sit just off of him.
Gary, let's take a look right now at the monitor and watch the break here and describe this for me. He's number 2.
Right. He had the one position. He hesitated just a little bit, which I think had an influence on the horse on the outside of him making the decision to go right to the front. And Shane just kind of held his ground. And, you know, you can see right here he has just enough hold to let that horse cross over and put our horse in a good position. He saved ground with him the whole way and rode him very confidently. You know, he knew sitting in that spot that something would open up and he'd be able to get out. And, you know, rode him like you'd ask any jock to do at any time.
Gary, he was ready and poised, ready to strike just about at any moment, and I thought it was a great ride by Shane Sellers.
I thought it was a magnificent ride. I mean, you can see right here where Shane's had enough of holding him back, and he's going to let him go ahead and get into his rhythm and run at his own pace here. And that's, you know, you don't want to take too much hold of this horse ever. If you're going to take him back, you take him back a little bit, but then you go ahead and let him be happy and run. And, you know, right here he's letting him run, but he's well within himself, and he's obviously, you see in the end, he has a lot of finish left.
Well, I think the big question now is, where do you go with Atticus next?
That's a good question. We don't always run this horse right back off of races. We'll take him home and see how the travel does. Something like the Met Mile, as fast as he is going to be something I'm sure Mr. Wertheimer is going to want to look at. There's a $400,000 one-mile grass race at Hollywood called the Shoemaker. I'm sure we'll have a look at things like that.
Look at the finish right here. You'll see him coming right down the end here. He was terrific.
Right here, I saw David was making a move with his horse, and I started to look up at the tote board and wonder exactly how fast we'd gone. But right as they turned for home, I get a little better look from where I was in the grandstand. I see him open up like that, and I knew from here he was gone. There was no way anybody was going to catch him with that much space between him and the rest of the field.
Were you surprised that Tejano Run didn't make a late run?
I was. You know, he's a horse that I feared coming into this race because I've run against him before, and he actually beat Sandpit one day on the grass at Keeneland and got a lot of respect from me that day. I thought he'd be flying at us at the end, but our horse is just very good today.
Okay, great, Gary. Congratulations on a big win today. Obviously, this is a very happy man.
And Larry, it is the tale of the timer amongst many factors. In addition to saving ground, Shane was able to keep things slow. 23-1, a reasonable time for quarter mile. 47-1 again, reasonable. 110-1, certainly no problem for a world record holder. 148-1, a reasonable time. Not spectacularly fast, but certainly nothing to be embarrassed by. Chris?
Well, we're finished with the Oaklawn Handicap, but we're not nearly done with racing this afternoon. Big story from Hialeah, the Flamingo Stakes, featuring this guy, Frisk Me Now, the Hutchison winner. Stay with us. Thrifty car rental racing across America. Today's coverage of the Oaklawn Handicap and Flamingo Stakes has been brought to you by Thrifty Car Rental. Best of all, it's thrifty. By Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. Budweiser, Beechwood Age for a crisp, clean, classic taste. Wittnauer watches, the perfect balance of hand craftsmanship and advanced technology. Wittnauer, the watchmaker's watch. And by Doubletree Hotels and Guest Suites. With over 200 locations worldwide, call 1-800-222-TREE. Ground transportation provided by Thrifty Car Rental. For reservations at over 1,100 locations worldwide, call Thrifty at 1-800-4CARS. Air transportation provided by Western Pacific Airlines. You'll enjoy Western Pacific's young and colorful all-Boeing jet fleet, and you'll love their low fares to cities coast to coast. Immediately following our Thoroughbred Racing telecast, stay tuned for Sports Center. We'll catch you up on all the sports around the world. Well, a big result for Atticus in the handicap division here this afternoon. But now we're going to turn our attention to the classics. Back to the 3-year-olds this time of the year, of course. We'll set it up with the Visa points going into today's races and some big Derby preps around the nation. Here you see the leaders for the championship point series of Visa. By category, Confide, the leader with 15 points. The best trainer, Frankie Brothers, was 17. And Mike Smith now with 21 points among the leaders there. And now we're closing in less than a month away from the 123rd Kentucky Derby as we take you on the road to Churchill Downs in Louisville.
One of the oldest, most historic racetracks in all of North America is Hialeah Racetrack, where they still release the pink flamingos daily before each feature race. It was 20 years ago the Triple Crown winner Seattle Slew won the Flamingo Stakes, and Caton today the Flamingo Stakes, while it is the 66th running, does not have a very large field.
A traditional stepping stone, though, and a rite of spring. It was 1 1/8 on a fast track with a compact field, but some up-and-coming horses, including Statesmanship on the inside. Just recently a winner in Allowance Company in Florida. Frisk Me Now was getting Lasix for the first time, and the favorite at post time by virtue of a nice third-place effort most recently in the Florida Derby. And you go all the way to the outside. Unite's Big Red, racing for Randy Mills in the Dreamcatcher Stables, was the second choice under Ruben Hernandez's regular rider, and this one, Versatile, had stakes victories in Florida on the turf and the main track.
And this week, both Statesmanship and Frisk Me Now paid the $6,000 supplemental fee for the Triple Crown. Let's join track announcer Frank Miramati to see if, in fact, it was really worth it.
And they're off in the 1997 Flamingo Stakes, and Michelle's All Hands comes out running, sprinting to the early lead. Statesmanship is on the inside, and Frisk Me Now is between horses. Unite's Big Red has a good early position right there as well. Just in behind that comes Biltmore Bend, then it's Gold Book, and Your Priceless is the early trailer as the Flamingo field rounds the first turn, and Enrique Jurado dictates the pace on Michelle's All Hands, and he's clear by a length and a half over Statesmanship, and Unite's Big Red racing a joint second. They're 3.5 clear of Frisk Me Now in fourth. Then it's Biltmore Bend, Gold Book,
and Your Price List trails. Down the backstretch, Michelle's All Hands in front by a length. Statesmanship is on the inside in second, a neck clear of Unite's Big Red, who's being asked for more in third. Frisk Me Now is galloping along at a good gallop in fourth. He's 5 lengths off the lead. Then it's Gold Book on the outside of Biltmore Ben and Your Price List. There's a half mile left to go in the Flamingo, and Michelle's All Hands has dictated the pace throughout, but he has company now. Statesmanship is right there in second, and Frisk Me Now looms a threatening third. Unite's Big Red has dropped out. Gold Book is now fourth, and then it's Biltmore Ben in fifth. As the field approaches the quarter pole, Statesmanship takes a narrow lead, but Frisk Me Now is on the outside, moving boldly. On the inside, Michelle's All Hands is trying to hang tough, and Gold Book is fourth. They straighten away in the stretch. Eddie King asks the question, and Frisk Me Now responds powerfully. Frisk Me Now is striding clear, leaving Statesmanship behind. Gold Book running a big one on the outside, then Michelle's All Hands. But Frisk Me Now is on his way to the Kentucky Derby. He romps in the Flamingo.
And an easy win for Frisk Me Now in that grade 3 mile and an 1/8 for 3-year-olds. The Flamingo Stakes, and here are the results. Frisk Me Now finishing first. Gold Book was second. Michelle's All Hands finishing third. It was a terrific race, Kate.
1:52 and 1 the final time, and Frisk Me Now really made easy work of it. Had the race set up beautifully and went the overland route as he characteristically does. He has that patented late charge. Here you see him 3 wide in the white cap with the orange silks on the outside. Eddie King aboard has the rest measured. Unite's Big Red didn't show his characteristic early speed, but there was legitimate pace to run at, and Frisk Me Now certainly did it.
And a big win earlier, too, in the grade 2 Hutchison Stakes. I think really marks this horse maybe for some Kentucky Derby accolades, possibly.
Well, it's interesting. He was a long shot in the Hutchison at 105 to 1, but the favorite today in the winner's circle with Eddie King, owner Carol Dender, of course, married to trainer Bob Durso, and accepting the trophy from John Brunetti.
And once again, a big win for Frisk Me Now in the Flamingo Stakes. Let's go back now to Chris Lincoln.
Of the last and most important Kentucky Derby prep race on the West Coast, the Grade 1 $750,000 Santa Anita Derby. They ran it for the 60th time. What was exciting about the race is that Sharp Cat, the filly from D. Wayne Lucas's stable, was the race favorite and trying to become just the 4th winner ever of the Santa Anita Derby in her first test against the Colts. That's the setup for you as we'll go to the race action. Sharp Cat in the green and white silks on the lead. Pressing close is Silver Charm on the outside, but watch the big gray coming from behind. That's Freehouse. Here's Dave Johnson from ABC.
A quarter of a mile to go in the Santa Anita Derby. It's the filly. Sharp Cat on the inside. Silver Charm takes command, trained by Bob Baffert. Silver Charm to the front. On the outside, Freehouse is second. On the inside, Sharp Cat. The filly dropping back. Hello is putting in a late move, and down the stretch they come. Freehouse digging in front with Kent DeSormo. On the inside, Silver Charm with Gary Stevens. Those two to the wire in a dramatic photo finish. Noses apart after a mile and an 1/8. Was it Freehouse on the outside with DeSormo, or Silver Charm with that last burst of speed? Gary Stevens looking for his 6th Santa Anita Derby.
Well, Dave Johnson wasn't quite sure. Bobby Baffert was. You could tell by his expression. His Silver Charm just nosed out by Freehouse, owned by John Topham and Trudy McCaffrey, trained by Paco Gonzalez. Big win for Kent DeSormo. He's on his way to the Derby as his Silver Charm. Hello was third. The big question, Sharp Cat. D. Wayne Lucas's filly running 6th. What will happen to her? Will she try the boys in the Kentucky Derby? Will she go the filly route? I'm not quite sure, but I'll tell you one who has to make a decision now. Shug McGahee's filly, Glitter Woman. Big winner of the Ashton Stakes earlier today. She might be heading against the boys the Derby. Get some final thoughts now on the day from Larry and Kate.
You know, Chris, thanks a lot. First of all, I just want to thank everybody for letting me join their racing team today, and I'll pass my thanks on to Kate here. Thank you. It was a pleasure and fun.
It's always nice to look up at you, Larry. But really, I think we added some clarity to the picture, not only in the 3-year-old division, but in the older horse ranks. Atticus stamps himself as legitimate, I believe, Chris.
I think you're right, Kate, and it's a funny game, isn't it? Atticus, of course, the winner today, ridden by Shane Sellers. We all expected Shane might win this race, but it was going to be with Skip Away. But trainer Sonny Hine decided he didn't get the respect he thought he deserved with Skip Away, so he decided to stay home. Hard to get respect when you don't run. Atticus wins it under Shane Sellers for trainer Dick Mandela and LePresley Farm. As we'll tell you to look ahead next weekend, one of the biggest weekends of Kentucky Derby prep race. We'll have 2 of the big 3 right here on ESPN. The Bluegrass Stakes will be at Keeneland for that. We'll carry their 61st Arkansas Derby here from Oaklawn. You won't want to miss that big weekend of racing. Shane Sellers takes the flowers for the Oaklawn Handicap for Atticus. I'd like to thank you for joining us. Reminder that this has been a production of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Thanks for joining us. So long, everyone.